questions are just so advanced and they really get me thinking. If you'd like to ask a question on Wild Earth, you need to register on our website. Once you've done that, head to the Live Safari page and submit your questions below the live feed.
The croc is still holding another one there. It's holding from the hindquarters. I would really want. The wildebeest cross is trying. The croc is holding the tail. It's holding tight. Oh no. Goodness me. Lucky wildebeest. You have another day to live.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily. This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Juma Private Game Reserve. Here we actually stopped, looking at the scenery, the background, and all of the bird sound that is actually coming about, since it's actually an open sky for us. Looks like it's going to be one of a warm day today. And welcome aboard to your very own live safari through African bush. Good morning again, everybody. Welcome to Juma Private Game Reserve, here where we're looking at the scenery. Scenery is all bringing its beauty of a sunrise this morning. My name's Andrew. On camera I have David this morning, so there's a plan to begin with. Look at the scenery, listening to also sound of a morning to begin with. Beautiful sound of a bird. Indeed, it's going to be slightly, maybe a warm, sitting on a 32 degrees Celsius and a 90 Fahrenheit this morning. This is where the weather. And remember, you can talk to us. We're coming to you live right into these locations. And you can use hashtag Wild Earth on Twitter and at FC on YouTube channel. But also, if you are under the age of 18, you can pop us an email on kidssquestions@wildearth.tv. All the beautiful of a beginning of a structure mound here, where there's a Temite mound, beginning of all a mound sealed up. But you can also, simple is to go register on Wild Earth website. Head over to the live safari page and you can submit your question there, and I will be taking them for you. Always love to hear from you all. So looking at the structuring or rebuild of the Temite mound, this is actually, it's not there yet, but I can easily estimate how long this structuring been started, or at least could be maybe 10 years. Because sometimes take long for them to be able to develop mound. And it's amazing that you see all the leaves from that trees. It's actually been sealed together with this mound, but they don't need it. So, as a safari kid, you say it's brilliant scenery. Yes, it is. It's an amazing, especially those birds singing about. So we're gonna be moving about, searching for any animal we're going to find this morning, hopefully lions, because it was a buffalo last night. We're not sure where they end up to. We're going to find out. But let's take a quick look at the weather.
Good morning and welcome to and Beyond Ngala Private Game Reserve, everybody. And as you can see this morning, first up we have managed to find a baboon who has found himself a nice seat in the middle of the Timbavati River. Incredibly human-like this morning. And it is just one baboon, one male baboon. I think probably not one of the ones from the troop that spends a bit of time around here. Maybe he's been pushed out by some of the other more stronger, dominant male baboons. My name is Nick, and behind camera we got Odie this morning, and it is a really beautiful day here on and Beyond Ngala. Sun is up and birds are chirping, and we came in the riverbed to check for the lioness and the 3 cubs, not the one that we've been trying to check her den site to see if the new lions do come out, but the one with the 3 that we've been seeing quite regularly. She was left in the riverbed behind us yesterday evening, but it looks like she has moved. There was tracks of a herd of elephants and a troop of baboon that came through. Maybe that prompted the mother to move them out of that section, and maybe she was looking for food as well. But this single male baboon was too funny to not put him on this morning. You can see how he's just lurking around. He keeps looking back behind where he's sitting, and we have heard some noises from the rest of the troop of baboons, so maybe he's feeling a little bit left out this morning. The lighting is rather beautiful as well. Driving in the Timbavati River again. Oh, there Odie is on a white-backed vulture as well, which we've got roosting up here on an apple leaf tree on the banks of the Timbavati. You can see how it's actually tucked its head right away now. There are a few nest sites along the river here, so that might also be why this vulture is decided to roost here this morning. He'll spend quite a lot of the morning in that tree, waiting for it to heat up, waiting for the hot thermals that rise, the rising air to get up into the sky. And there's another vulture, a different one. Also a white-backed vulture. Both species are white-backed vultures. And I'm going to tear Odie's ear off here a little bit. But Odie, below that first vulture that you had in the jackalberry, so that first vulture, just below the first vulture and to the left. Go down, zoom down a little bit more. So the light's not being, you can just see it there, right at the top of the screen. There is a Wahlberg's eagle sitting in, there we go. So that was very well done, Odie. The lighting's a bit dark in that area, but you can see that beautiful brown eagle, which has been vocalizing this morning. It's been calling flat out. And that's how I knew it was a Wahlberg's eagle. I didn't even have to put my binoculars on it. But it's quite a pretty one as well. It's got a lighter head. And you can just see that crest sticking up that tells us that it is a Wahlberg's eagle as well. No, I can't see anything else there. I think it's just one. But they more than likely are a pair. Oh, that's what Odie has found. It's a baboon in the tree at the back. So sitting camouflaged right at the back, and that's what we heard this morning. That's what this male baboon that was in the river kept looking back to. The troop of baboons more than likely roosted here last night as well. And this male is on the outskirts, so I don't think he's been part of the troop. I think the bigger, more dominant males must have chased him away. In a baboon troop, there's usually a few males that are in control of it and will look after the troop and make sure that outsiders and intruders like this male in the riverbed do not come too close to their females and their young. I think this morning, with the fact that lioness and 3 have moved as well, we'll keep driving in the riverbed for a little bit more of a way, but it is quite tricky in the riverbed. It's still very wet. So we are having to drive quite quickly through certain sections through the water, and we are hoping to get stuck this morning. interesting start to the morning. I mean, we saw the baboon in the riverbed, and it's how it goes in the bush. You'll see one animal, you stop. If you spend a bit of time in the area, you'll pick up on all different kinds of things that are around us. Oh, there we go. So Owen's picked up on another bird species to our right-hand side. He's just going to pan across. Sitting right up, and I can't believe we missed it. But I'm sure it is there. It is as well. So I'm sure it's the partner to that other Wahlberg's eagle we saw on the other side of the river. You can see how it's trying to groom itself a little bit this morning. And when it brings its head out, have a look for that little crest that sits on the back of its head. Definitely the easiest way to tell that it is a Wahlberg eagle. And then if you have a look at that tail, it's not the easiest thing to see, but it is quite a long, rectangular shaped tail. You can see a few of the feathers there displaying that rectangular shape. And it is a very common eagle around at the moment, and it's one of the smaller brown eagles. They should be leaving relatively soon, migrating back north up into Africa. But I mean, this year as well, with the large amount of rains that we've had, we've seen birds staying for a little bit longer than usual, and I think it's because of the amount of food that is available for them that is just keeping them here for a little bit longer. It means that they don't have a desperate urge to leave South Africa and Southern Africa and start migrating north yet. So I didn't catch the name there, but Wahlberg's eagles, I mean, if you have a look at the size of that eagle compared to the baboon, I'm going to just ask Odie to stay on the eagle instead of going across the baboon, but yeah, I don't think they would be able to catch something like a baboon. The baboons are just too big. Even a baby baboon might be a bit of a tricky task for Wahlbergs to take down. And they've got pretty big talons, but not the biggest talons, nothing like a Marshall eagle or Varro's eagle. So I don't think it would be a natural predator of a baboon. Maybe in a very isolated occasion, you might see a Wahlberg's feeding on a very small baboon, but I don't think it's a common thing. But as I said, something like a Marshall eagle, Varro's eagle, even a crowned eagle might be able to catch a baby baboon, a young one. But that male in front of us, there won't be any bird of prey that can kill him. He's just too big and strong. If an eagle tried to grab him, he'd probably catch the eagle and end up eating the eagle. A really nice start to the morning with all the birds around, though. I do love my birding, and with the camera and the way the birds move and fly about, it is always quite tricky to get them on the show unless they are perched up in a tree, beautifully like this Wahlberg's eagle this morning. So Simon, Wahlberg's eagle, I have to double check on my bird book, but I think from the eagles it is the smallest eagle. There's maybe a lesser spotted eagle is smaller, but I think the Wahlbergs might be the smallest eagle. There are obviously much smaller raptors and birds of prey than the Wahlberg's eagle, but with the eagles, if you have a look at the legs on that eagle, the light's also not ideal, but you'll see that they've got feathers on the legs. So all the true eagles have got feathered legs, and out of the eagles I do think the Wahlberg's is probably the smallest. I'm just going to double check because I could be talking utter nonsense. So let's see, bear with me. So tawny eagle's definitely bigger, lesser spotted eagle. 1.5, 1.2 kgs. All of the big eagles are much bigger. Yes, so the lesser spotted eagle male 1.2 kilograms, the female 1.5, and the Wahlberg's male 1 kilogram and the female 1.3. So it's interesting that the females are bigger. The Wahlberg's eagles also stands 58 centimeters tall and the lesser spotted 62. So it is quite similar. However, the Wahlbergs is definitely the smallest. But we're going to send you over to Lauren at Djuma, who wants to say good morning.
Good morning. We're having the best time watching these cubs frolic around. It is in fact the Nkuhuma pride, the elusive pride that I have not seen in, well, I can't even begin to think when the last time I properly saw them was. My name is Lauren. I do have Impo on camera, and as I already mentioned, we are surrounded by the Nkuhuma pride. But to be honest with you, this is Gowrie Main. This is our southern boundary. So as soon as they go south or move out the way, we can't follow them. So we're going to try and stay with them as long as we can. We've got a little one here. So you can see we're just following this one going along. We're just going to reposition a little bit here and move out of the way and see if we can catch up with the cubs. What a great start to the morning. But there is absolutely, they're moving. They're mobile west, and we're on Djuma. If they turn north, then they'll be with us. If they don't, then we'll lose them. So let me just try and see if we can get ahead of them. I don't actually know how many we have here. We've just arrived on the scene. Oh, elephant up ahead. Look at this. Are you ready, Impo? Lion and elephant. Elephant could possibly react here. The lions wouldn't do anything to adults, but look, this one's very alert. They can hear the elephants. The elephants, I don't think, are aware that there's a pride of lions here. They have an incredible sense of smell. They won't hear the lions. Lions have evolved to be silent and stealthy. Here you go, Impo, this big one's coming. Look at that youngster. Oh, so brave. Well, that pushed some of the Nkuhuma pride onto Djuma, but they are not happy. Oh, that one's running. One's chasing the lions here. We've got a lion running all the way into Djuma. So this is where, as a guide, you have to be cautious. Look at this female over here, Impo, of displaced aggression. Now, she's not, but this is when you have to be really careful. You shouldn't block the road. There is another vehicle on the road, but it really shouldn't block the road. Because this is a mama. She's got a calf, and she does not like lions. You don't want to be the vehicle that's in the wrong place with an angry matriarch. There's a lion there, Impo. Look at the tufts of hair around you, boy. Getting big. Oh, the elephants are coming out of everywhere. Okay, we know you guys are not happy. You see them staying tightly packed together. I just need to focus here. and I will come back to that. We just need to focus on the elephants. They're very upset, as you know. So they're right in the middle of the road, staying very, very tightly packed. Elephants are everywhere. Lions are everywhere. Now, they're not angry at the vehicles, but you don't want them to become angry at the vehicles. I can see the lions as well. They're still running away. They're still around. Well, if you are not awake already, you're definitely awake now. Some very noisy elephants. Now we're just going to have to navigate around vehicles, lions, and elephants here. See if we can find the Nguruma pride. They split. Some went south, some went north. But some are on Juma, and that's a good thing. And the elephants are now crossing into Juma. That's also a good thing. Okay, let's see if we can just move around a bit here. Did your heart beat a little bit faster there, Impo? Why are you saying that was so intense? Yes, it was, and it's still happening. The elephants are still upset. We've got a little bit of vehicle traffic here, but let's see if we can position in such a way that we can get a view of some of the animals. You can see a lion or an elephant? And Paul can see a lion. Okay. And Paul can see a lion. There we go. Can we get a view of the lion from here? Lost everybody. You see, they'll start making sounds. They don't know where the rest of the pride are. Everybody's scattered. It's crossing south. That's what we don't want. No, he's going to walk towards us, Impo. Let me just go a little bit forward. Vehicle views are not fun. It's so nice to see lions active and not flat cat. Oh, they're all coming. They've got another one joining. I think the elephants have moved off. No, still in front of us. Oh, they're all running. The youngsters are all following one another. Okay. Trust us to happen on a boundary line. Ah, there's another one, Impo. You see it? I can see trees being pushed over as the elephants are up here. I don't know where the lions are, though. Should we go and take a look at the elephant, Impo? Okay, I'm gonna do a big, giant U-turn and try and figure out where all the animals have gone.
It's the month of March and Wild Earth is offering you the chance to win a brand new prize. Sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer and you could win a 5-day eco-training ranger experience for 2. Eco-training is the pioneer and leader in safari guide and wildlife training in Africa. The lucky winners can look forward to approaching dangerous game on foot, tracking and 4x4 driving, learning about animal behavior, and even spending one night sleeping out under a blanket of stars. In addition, you will also get the exclusive opportunity to join the Wild Earth team on the broadcasting vehicle. Sign up to be an explorer now, and it could be you that wins this life-changing experience. Terms and conditions apply.
What are you looking at, man? That's its gangster face. It has the manners of a common variety vagabond. Look at it, chewing with its mouth open like that.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me, and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
Hello, Mama. Just checking us out, everybody. There's no aggression here. Very relaxed. A herd of elephants moving around your car like that is truly, truly magical.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
Alright everybody, so we got buffaloes here again. Since we wanted to check how far they would have moved or how far they have gone since last night, or since we last seen them yesterday. But now, good idea is that they're crossing into Djuma from Beverly Souk, so they didn't actually cross, I think, looks like it. Yesterday, they're only crossing this morning from Beverly Souk. So we don't know what has been behind them the whole night. Julian, age 9, so you asking if buffalo related to cows? Yes, they actually bovine, where the type of cattle, and then only the difference is that they're actually wild. And they're all one colors, all the buffaloes. So where you see on the cows, you got different color pattern, some of them, but in the buffaloes, only one color. They can move almost like cows as well, so it's quite a few things that relate them to cows. They have 4 teeth as well to nurse their baby. gestation period is still 11 months, similar to cows as well.
Got the youngster.
You got a young one there, see how coloration is still brown a bit. So yeah, Julia age 9, of course, yeah, they are related. So we're gonna move forward and then trying to keep up with them. And they may move into places where we cannot drive, but we try to keep up with them. So I'm going to carry on, follow these herd. I'm going to be sending you across to Lauren, where she's also got a herd.
Well, it was a 50-50. Will the lions go north or south? There really were only two options. And naturally they went south, but the elephants went north. And by going north, that means they're on Juma. They're relaxed now, it's remarkable, and they are so fiercely protective over their young, and that's what I love about elephants. They create this really tight circle so that the calves, the small ones, will be in the middle. A lion would never attack a big matriarch like that. Well, I'm not saying never, but it's highly unlikely, especially female lions, and they could risk losing their lives. Elephants are powerful, they're huge, and of course they're equipped with massive tusks. And for a mother elephant, you are pregnant for 22 months. That's almost 2 years. It's well over double what a human, well, how long a human carries their baby for. And the offspring, the calves, can remain in milk for up to 4 years. So that's a very high level of maternal investment. It's a very long time. And from a very young age, the females learn how to be mothers. They don't just get pregnant and become mothers. There's a lot of sort of knowledge being passed down from the matriarch. There's a lot of learning to do, a lot of culture to be passed down. For a female elephant, it's all about becoming a mother. And therefore, if any threat comes to your baby, you are going to fiercely protect it. But now they're calm. It's the first time I got to see the Nkohumas, and they're gone already. But we're not too far from the hyena den, and I do think the sun is far too high in the sky, but I also believe it's worth just checking the hyena den. You never know if there's a carcass of sorts. Then they still will be there. So as our big grey bottoms disappear into the bush impo, let us bumble towards the Misi Kaya, which means hyena's home. I just want to be careful there's no elephants here. In an elephant sighting like that, you have to really focus. You just have to give your undivided attention to everything that's going on around you with your periphery vision and focus on the elephants. They made a wall right in front of our vehicle, but luckily we were not blocking their sort of pathway. But of course there was other vehicles in this sighting, so you've just got to be hyper aware of what's going on with these animals that are upset. And although they're not upset with you, displacement aggression is a huge thing with elephants. Many of you are wondering about this lovely buff. It's actually a buff. Andrew has one too, and Dravi and Impo have a zebra one. Have you got yours on? No, you haven't. And you can ask Darby to see it. It was just a gift from a viewer. She arrived and gave us a gift, and we just love it so much. I know this doesn't sound very nice, but when you're hot and sweaty, perfect. Perfect. Buffs are great for so many reasons. So there's actually we're not in a secret club or anything like that. It was just a gift, and we love it so much. So Andrew and I match, and Darby and Impo match. Andrew and I are the predator. You guys are the prey. Okay, I'm on the way to the old Misikaya, and talking of Andrew the predator, I believe he has some buffalo.
Lauren, good luck. So we actually stopped here in this one of the puddle of water where they mainly, looks like some of them has been, some of them hasn't been yet. Since it's quite a lot of a herd, there seems to be all over the places. But we can only stick on the road, 2 tracks road over here. It's one of the cow, the female. It's probably one of a young one that's following right from the end. It's quite a lot of different age here, where they've been actually breeding very well this year, this herd. The noise is moving quite a lot because they have a lot of babies, so each mother has to make sure always in contact close to their babies as they forage through this wood. So I'm going to stay put here. Hopefully all of them will pass by. I'm going to be sending you across to Pinda with also they have something there for us.
Good morning and welcome to Beyond Pinda Private Game Reserve. You've joined us just in time. We've been trying to keep up with this female leopard the whole morning. She's been moving quickly through the thick bush, and we've just managed to get a brief glimpse of her. My name's Damon. Behind the camera is Craig. And how exciting is this? There she goes down the road, scent marking as she goes. We found her earlier, or another vehicle found her sitting up in a big tree. And it seems now that she's out marking her territory. We're going to try and keep up with her, everybody. How exciting is this? And it's such a pretty morning as well. There's mist everywhere. Just fantastic. So you'll see there's another game drive with her. Oh, she's scent marking. Like I said, a very misty morning and lots of very tall. So the we could see on her walking through the grass, and she's now found this old track. Where it's a bit more open and it's a bit of a path of least resistance for her, and I'm hoping that she sticks to this and keeps on going down here towards somewhere where it'll be a bit easier for us to try and follow her. Let's try and keep up with her. can't catch up with her, let's go back to Juma, see what those lions are up to with Lauren.
Well, they didn't quite go south. They are on the southern property, but they're on the boundary so we can view them. And they're setting up the top. Oh, no, don't leave. You're sitting so perfectly. I love having lions up Termite Mountains. There's really nothing quite like it. It's common to see the leopards up the Termite Mountain, but not so much the lions. And as long as they stay on the boundary line, we can follow them. I just want to see them all together to see who's here and who's not here. There was a video online fairly recently of one of the cubs with quite an injury. And as far as my knowledge goes, that's healed. It's healed very well. He's limping. But nothing like what he was like limping. Lions are also very resilient. Not quite as resilient as the hyenas. They are remarkable, but they bounce back. Yeah, they're all moving west, which means they're heading straight towards Arathusa, that property that steals all of our animals. Oh, big stretch. Fiona, you are right. What an exciting morning. It's been rather quiet on the Juma side. Extremely quiet, and it's just to do with the summer movement of animals. And it's nice to see some cats and some elephants all in one. I always describe sort of Juma as a roller coaster, if you like. You know, you go through periods of lots of animal sightings when you're on the sort of up, if you like, and then it gets quiet. It's like an ebb and a flow. And hopefully we're on the up now, and all the cats are going to come towards us because I've got my new buff. They're still here. I'm just going to go forward a little bit, and then we'll be able to get a view of them. Oh! Now that these boys are getting big, the play is rough. I mean, it's still very much cub play, but it's... Okay, I was a bit slow in the uptake there. Let's go a little bit further forward and pull. Boundary sightings are actually the hardest because it's no man's land. It's sort of the boundary line between many different properties, and therefore any vehicles can come. And that's why it makes it a little bit tricky. Let's see if we can get a view here. Apparently the avocas are on their way as well, but I don't know if we'll manage to see them in time. The Ingahumas, of course, are not spending as much time on Juma anymore. They seem to have just shifted a little bit, which is completely natural. There will always be daily shifts, seasonal shifts, all sorts of shifts when it comes to the animal world. Okay, we're being told that we can sort of reposition. Let's see if we can get them before they cross. We're very, very close to Arathusa. Or at least the boundary of Arathusa. How are you? Okay. Okay, we're just going to give you one last view of these lions here, because once they cross, that's them gone. If that's okay, Elton, we're just on the middle of the road here. Very, very close to the Arathusa boundary. Oh, look, they're going to play. Okay, let us catch up with them. Oh, these two boys are having a drink. How lovely. Inkahumas, I have missed you guys. Very much so. Yeah, they're gonna cross. Did you see that? There's nothing quite like it when you've got a mobile lion pride and they're active and they're frolicking around. But of course it's getting very, very hot, which means most likely they are going to find some shade and go flat cat. Vincent, you are 10 years old and you're asking about the spots of lions. To be honest, they're far more spottier when they're younger, when they're cubs. But even if you look at adults, on the sort of inner thigh area, on the legs, you will find that they still retain some of their spots. That sort of lovely pattern that lions have, but they definitely lose some as they get older. It fades into that monotonous tawny colour. Then you'll find males rarely have spots as adults, but some of the adult females do have some spots on that inner thigh area. You can see this lioness is still drinking. Cats are not efficient drinkers. That's why they need to drink a lot, because they're not actually getting a large volume of water with each lap of their tongue. Oh my goodness, you see that lion eating the foam nest? I've never seen this before. Let's get closer and pull. We're going to move out the way for other vehicles as well. I've never seen a predator prey with a foam nest like this. I don't know if he's actually eaten it, but I think they've definitely destroyed it. Whether it was an active one or not, I'm not sure. Hello. The foam nests sort of remain there even when the tadpoles have hatched. And therefore, this may not have been an active one, but he definitely had a good old chew of it. Oh. I have never seen this before. He's eating it. Ooh. I think you like that. Amphibians are not for you, huh? Well, that foam nest has definitely been destroyed. And it clearly doesn't taste very good. You know, you're asking, what do lions smell like? Oh, bye-bye foam nest. Honestly, sometimes really bad. Very, very bad. Not always. Lions definitely have a stronger odor. Oh, we're off. Foam nest gone. Lion 1, foam nest 0. What do they smell like? A mixture between rotten flesh and a little bit of a fecal component. Okay, we're being summoned. And need to be careful here. Yes, it's not pleasant. Leopards, I never get any sort of odour from. Hyenas, well, that's a different story. But lions, they can smell terrible. But right now I don't smell anything. Luckily, they're just all relaxing at... That was rather bumpy and bold. Are you still on board? So this is the junction. This is our western junction. It takes you south to Arathusa area, north to us or north to the gate, and east all the way to Chitwa. And of course, right now with the vegetation being so thick, it's easier for the big cats to walk on the road. It's exhausting walking through this vegetation. And you can see they've just parked themselves in the shade here. Our comms are breaking up, but I know there's a question about nutritional value, so I'm going to guess that you're asking about the nutritional value of the foam nest. I highly doubt it. It's an oviductal secretion that's formed by the female frog, and she whips it up with her hind legs, whip, and it's quite the process. And the tadpoles will actually be fathered by all sorts of different males. So from the actual foam, I really don't believe there would be any nutritional value. But if you got a mouthful of tadpoles, I guess there would be a little bit of protein there. Probably not very much. And by the look on the face, I don't think it tasted very nice. But in terms of nutrition, I think it would be very, very low. Especially for a lion. So good to see them. A lot of the cubs are at that awkward phase, that teenage phase. They're not quite an adult, they're no longer a small little cub. In some species, I think it looks very, very awkward. So as we sit here with the apex predator, we are going to send you across to Andrew with their favourite prey.
So cool, we've still got our buffaloes here. And it was actually a bull elephant that actually chased them. And he wasn't really friendly with them, but they were all take it easy again. I think he must be hiding somewhere. It's so cool, that Temite Mound. Oh, looks like they're getting chased again. The bull elephant. To the right on top of the mound is a little bit of his head, but it's very difficult to be framed.
You can just see his ears.
You just see his ears there, but it's very difficult. He will probably come out. So there's a competition there, you know, it doesn't really work well where these elephants on their favorite place of feed. Also, small species when I get into that area. Some elephants won't tolerate the other small animal. Gonna move forward slightly. There he is. So we got him there, still feeding. Looks like he just slightly on must. Well, maybe that's why he's not tolerating. See his temporal gland sweat. that is an indication that it comes on mast already. So we've been talking about the Temite mound, that grasses grow around this mound. It's very sweet for animals, most hippos, rhinos, elephants and buffaloes. Because the soil that is in that mound is not actually the top soil. It's from the undersurface, so it's a clay soil, but very highly, a lot of nutritious. Just check his head. He's probably still a little bit upset about the company that was there. So he's pushing trees, so this is a sign of maybe he's not happy. So we're gonna keep up. We can keep up with the buffalo, see what they're about in front of us.
With a slew of potential dangers lurking, it's essential to be aware of your surroundings whilst walking in the wilderness.
20 yards away from one of the most endangered species. This is a big bull.
What a moment, what a close encounter with an Ellie bull. He's just over here now. He's moved completely away.
Being on a bushwalk and seeing a leopard, I mean, it's ridiculous to be this close to a leopard on foot and for him not to run is absolutely insane. How crazy was that?
Through the gap there is just the back of the head of a male lion. He is absolutely unaware that we are here right now. I'll tell you, seeing lions on foot, it definitely brings out the caveman in you, this little scared human being.
We get asked quite regularly what are the differences between African and Asian elephants. We caught up with Haresh, who's from Leopard Trails, which is based in Sri Lanka.
Of course, size and weight is the first thing you notice. The African elephant is much bigger than the Asian elephant. Tusks in the Asian elephant, it's a very small percentage of male elephants only who have tusks. I was told that there's a theory that the African elephant's ear is in the shape of Africa. The Asian elephant has a much smaller ear. The elephant represents the bush and the jungle in Sri Lanka in a quintessential manner, and I think it's very important that we do whatever we can to protect them.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at Wild Earth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, you're going to have to register on the website. But once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
Cool, so we still got our buffalo. We have left the elephants, bull elephants, and then he's slightly angry. But the herds of elephants, the buffaloes, good things that they we still have a chance to follow them because we're on a 2-track road and they're also parallel with it. as you can see, looks like they're right here in front of us. One of the beautiful bull buffalo. You can tell by his size. But he's moving away from us. Somehow they will come stationary. Still early morning for them to start. Henny, you're asking if buffalo horn can break? Yes. You see quite a lot of males or females, those have broken horn. And usually, it's solid bone. When it break off, it doesn't really grow back. So quite a lot of time come across one horn, fully grown buffalo. Look at these male there. Look at this horn. He's actually busy testing here the female's urine. All he does is just kind of like a smiling up, showing a mouth. When he does that, he sucks the air into an jack up an organ sense, where then decode the pheromone whether the female is ready to mate or not. Then I'm gonna keep up with them. So yeah, they do break the horn, and they don't grow back. Due to fight, when that happened, or run into trees, not having chance to avoid trees when they're on run. So I'm gonna keep following them. I'm gonna be sending it across to Nick in Ngala, where he's got something to show everybody.
Welcome back, everybody, and you might just be able to see these large pachyderms moving through this dense vegetation that we've got on our left-hand side. And I'm just going to reverse because I think they might even cross the road right in front of us. So bear with me when I just change positions quickly. That might even be better from there for Owen. Let's see if that works. So it is a rather large herd of elephants that we've managed to find this morning, and it's because when we were, just after we finished with that baboon in the river, we heard some lions roaring out in this part of the reserve. So that's what we've come to investigate, and whilst looking for the lions, we managed to find this beautiful herd of elephants. Look at that tiny baby that's moving through the Odie. Very, very young elephant calf. You can see how it's tucked right between mom and some of the other elephants. Moving around this morning, and you can see how they're using their trunk to pull leaves off. I think it's large fruited bush willow that they're feeding on at the moment. But there've been some feeding on grass as well, roundleaf teak. And this herd is slowly moving in a northerly direction. They're moving quite quickly through the bush as well. So I wonder if they haven't got a decision, or the matriarchs made a decision that they need to move to a new area, maybe looking in search of some water or just feeding consistently. It's quite dense here, so we're going to just see if we can maybe reposition for another view. It's also quite cool to watch them through the dense foliage as well. I would absolutely love this young elephant to come out in the open for us as well. I think let's maybe try reposition quickly. So Dominique, pretty much all herbivore species do get along because they've got no real... There's a nice view of a female on the left, but she's going to move again, of course. They do tend to get along quite well. Odie, I'm actually going to keep going forward, sorry. They do get along because they aren't a threat to each other, so they're not looking to eat each other. With elephants, sometimes they can be a little bit protective, especially the herds, and they might end up chasing other animals. So we're just going to go off-road here because I think they are going to come through this little gap here, and I'm just going to turn off right here, and hopefully they're going to come and cross through this beautiful clearing on the left of us. And they are doing just that, and we've got a nice amount of distance between us and them as well. Always a good thing with elephants. It's a big herd. There's a female now with her head right inside this large fruited bush willow. And Odie, if you go to the right, that little baby I think might come through, and it's running around with its ears out, trying to look as big as possible. Looks like it's having a lot of fun this morning. Don't know what it's chasing. Might just be running around and performing a little bit. If you can hear those low frequency rumbling as well, these elephants are communicating between them. You can see how that one's going for grass instead of the sure you all managed to hear that, and I don't know if you heard it. You saw that this young elephant that we've got in picture sort of shook his head at us a little bit. Oh, always quite cool to see their mouth as well. Shook its head a little bit at us, and I think it might be that young one that's running around here and causing a bit of anxiety for its mother. Not 100% sure which one is its mother because it was quite tight to, I think it was this cow on the left of us, but now it's running around in between all of these elephants, and that's also when it will feel rather safe. There's quite a large circle around where they're feeding, and then that little one was running around right in the middle. This one's being a little bit curious. So Noble Rabbi, elephants that are fully grown, it's mainly on the size of them, to be honest. These smaller ones that we're seeing, they are not yet fully grown, but something like this female that we've got in picture now, she is a fully grown elephant. So predominantly on their size of the body, the height their shoulders stands to the ground. That's pretty much it. It's all on size with these animals. And they they continuously grow throughout most of their lives. Only when they get older, maybe around for a bull, 40, 50 is when he'll really reach his maximum size. And that's, you can then say he's fully grown. But I mean, an elephant that's 20, 25, cheeky teenager. You can see how he's very, very confident running towards us. And then as soon as the big female decided that she was moving away, so does this elephant. Running away from us now. It looks like it's all embarrassed almost. Really beautiful light coming through this morning on them as well. So there's a little bit of cloud cover over us, and it's kept us nice and cool this morning. I think it will burn off and it's going to turn into an incredibly hot day today again. But for now we've got a nice breeze blowing, and it's actually rather pleasant out in the bush. See, that female's got a little bit of that fluid we've been speaking about over the last couple of days, the liquid streaming out of her temples or temporal gland. And when we spoke about the males, we know that, I think Lauren had a bull elephant in must at some stage, and that's a sign or an indicator that for a male elephant. For female elephants and they're young, they do also occasionally stream out of their temples, and it's just an indicator of stress, whether it's as a result of heat or lots of small ones in the herd. Maybe there's a lot of elephants around that they're coming into contact with that stresses them out a little bit. I think that might be a key element with the elephants in the Kruger Park, because there are so many of them around that they do tend to come into contact with other herds and bulls lots of the time. So that could be another reason, but it's obviously next to impossible for us to tell the exact reason because we can't speak to them, we can't ask them questions. You can hear that bird calling in the background as well. Emerald spotted wood dove. I can't iconic call of the bushveld. You can see this female's interesting this morning. She's just choosing these large fruited bush willows. It seems to be her sole focus. And this is part of the reserve where we have good numbers of these trees. You can see the leaves are quite big. I can't imagine them to be too tasty. Now she's putting her head right in the middle of the bush. It's always so nice to watch elephants as well. They're such busy animals. And the lions that we were hoping to find this morning, we haven't heard them roar. I was hoping while we were sitting with these elephants we'd hear them roar. They could give us an indicator of their position. But elephants are always busy. They're always doing something, even if they're just moving around, feeding. And especially a herd of elephants is always rather exciting to watch. Although we've only got two that I've got visual of at the moment, I can hear lots more elephants feeding behind them into a more dense area. She's now deciding that it might be time to move on, continue following the rest of the herd and the movements that they are making. Noble Rabbi, to be honest, I've never thought about that. I've got no idea what would happen if an elephant ate meat. It's an interesting question. I'm going to just reposition, so I'm just letting Odie know. To be honest, I think it would be okay. I don't think it would make it sick or anything unless it started eating meat permanently. I think maybe it would struggle to digest it because it's not built for meat eating. So it's not like a lion that digests meat rather well. So I've heard instances of hippos going to carcasses that are in the water and feeding on it, but I've never ever heard of an elephant eating meat. So I've got no idea. Your guess is as good as mine as to what would happen if they were to eat meat. I think we should be able to get another view on the left here. They are moving south now, so they're changing their direction a little bit. Just going to keep going a little bit further. They are starting to cut into the block this way, and it's very thick here, and there's also lots of elephants around the property at the moment, so I don't want to be off-roading too much. And you can see them moving now through the more sort of thick areas. There's some black monkey oranges here as well, another species of tree, as well as a rather large zebra wood in the foreground. Just see their backs moving through. I'm just going to keep quiet for a little while and listen to them and see if we can hear what it sounds like of their bodies brushing up against the trees and vegetation that they're moving through.
Yeah, stations, I'm leaving that area.
It's actually crazy how as soon as they start moving through areas that are a little bit more open, where they aren't feeding and aren't brushing up against the vegetation, how quietly they move. And there's still some that you can hear feeding, and I found it quite humorous how we saw that one with that whole piece of round leaf teak in its mouth that it was carrying and feeding on. Believe it or not, Jenny, I have seen an elephant and buffalo fight before. I'm going to move forward, Odie. I think we might get another view again, just while we answer the question. So elephants and buffalo fighting, I don't think they would fight seriously. I have seen them where an elephant bull in Must came down to a watering hole, and the buffalo was inside the water, and the elephant wasn't too keen on sharing that water source. And then it chased the buffalo away. It actually ended up pushing it a little bit, but I don't think anything too serious. But elephants can be quite selfish around water sources. So if they do end up getting to a water hole, they want it to themselves. So they will sometimes chase animals like buffalo away, but I've never seen them fight seriously. They wouldn't really have anything to fight seriously over. The buffalo doesn't pose a huge threat to the elephants. And these elephants are moving south, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep driving, keep checking areas, see if we can't perhaps find some other interesting animals. I would love to find out where those lions are. I think the Ross males are definitely with them. I saw tracks of the males in the road as well with the rest of the pride. So who knows, they could be around the next corner in front of us. And through here, we're driving through all these trees that you can see either side of us with the silverish leaves, are called silver cluster leaves. And this time of year, they are quite beautiful with their leaves, and you can see some pods coming onto them as well. In the winter, believe it or not, you come here, it looks like Delville Wood. There's not one leaf on any of these silver cluster leaves. The bush willows lose 90% of their leaves as well, so it's a very different feel driving through this little section of road in winter as compared to in summer. And there is a little clearing coming out just in front of us. And if I had to put money on us finding an animal there, ooh, that is quite interesting. So there's a rather big millipede on this termite mound just to the left. So we'll have a quick look at this millipede, or shongololo as it's known in South Africa. And it's an enormous one. And quite nice to have found while driving. But we're going to send you back over to Lauren at Juma.
And we've managed to find the ladies, the Nkahuma females. I'm not entirely sure of the body count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Possibly 6. They're all tucked away in the Temite thicket here on the southern eastern side of Juma. And the cubs, the ones that we were just with, are on the western side. But of course the cubs are much older now. It's not adults really, some of them, and it's getting hot. The sun is not directly blazing as it normally is, but it's starting to get really a little bit muggy actually. I feel like there's moisture in the air, and it's time to go flat cat. That belly looks full to me. It's just so lovely to have them on Juma, but they're really only touching that sort of southern side. They came onto quarantine the other day, which was the first time in a while. And naturally, the Talamatis and the Nkuhumas, their boundary lines will clash. It will be very muddled. As long as that outer fence is not recent and it's not fresh, then of course they'll cross it. They know each other. These prides know each other very, very well. But it's good to see them. And they've picked the perfect spot. We're on Leadwood Road, and there's lots of sort of pans, or should I say puddles. So they've got water, they've got the Temite thicket to snuggle up into, and they've got shade. They must relish the nighttime, as do we. Yesterday was so uncomfortably hot that once that sun goes down, you can just let out that big exhale. Felicity, you're 9 years old. And with most species, the females outlive the males. In lions, antelopes, leopards. Now, it's not always the case, but as a rule of thumb, males are generally more aggressive, especially when it comes to territorial males such as lions or leopards, because they have to patrol their territory, they have to spend a lot of energy on doing that, they have to keep other males out. And if you think of species like hippos or even zebras, they have harems of females. They have lots of females that they are in charge of, and therefore they need to constantly stay strong and fit and fight off other males who are trying to steal their females. And therefore it's exhausting, and it involves fighting, it involves clashing, which will result in injury. So generally speaking, the females outlive the males. But of course, that's not always the case. I'm really overjoyed. I can't express it. It's seen in Kahuma's eye. It's just so lovely. I remember last year when they really started to push down south. And now they're spending a lot of time on Arathusa. So they're just expanding, they're just moving their territory, they're just shifting it. Shifting is always happening even when we can't see it. Very, very slight changes in that particular species' daily life. And that's because nothing in nature is static. Nothing. Change is the only constant. And I know I say that a lot, but it's really important to remember. An ecosystem, an organism, an area, a habitat is not always going to stay the same. Things are constantly moving, which has a knock-on effect, however large or however small. And it's normal for sort of species and their neighbours. So let's just use lions as an example, the Talamatis, the Torchwood Pride, the Nkuhumas. They're constantly all moving around one another, like a mobile jigsaw. Boundaries, territorial lines constantly changing, movements changing. And this has been a summer like no other, with so much water that's brought about so much life. It is indeed the liquid of life after all. Consultant detective, I was so overjoyed to hear your name there that I did not hear the comment. But Elton will repeat it. Look, Impo, we've got some impala right there, some boys. I don't think they know the lions are here. Ah, consultant detective, you're saying the lions are such a joy to see. Yes, they are. It's been too long. I hope you're using your detective work for my riddles. You see, I don't think these impala realise that there's these lions here. Gentlemen, no, they don't. They look very relaxed. And of course the lines are flat. And we're probably blocking the visual, not intentionally. They're silent, the lions are snoozing happily. But it's interesting that they haven't caught their scent yet. Impalas do have large nostrils and really keen olfactory senses, but yet they're not aware that there's all these tawny, ginormous bodies sleeping maybe 15 meters away, I would say. It's really not that far. But these cats are full, at least from what I can see. And when lions don't make a big kill, when there's no takedown of a zebra, a wildebeest, buffalo, they'll snack along the way on much smaller items of prey. So they'll constantly sustain themselves along the way. So we're going to sit here and enjoy spending time with our fabulous Nkuhuma pride.
When on safari, there's nothing better than an evening spent under the stars chatting around a fire, with the sounds of the wild all around you. If you sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer, you can build your own memories by joining our guides for regular fireside chats. Subscription payments can be made by PayPal, credit card, and now bank transfer. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Our bodies are made up of about 60% water, which means that in a very short space of time, you can dehydrate completely. A relatively efficient way of collecting water early in the morning is to take an absorbent material like a sock and to walk through the grass, absorbing the condensed dewdrops on the grass. Once the material is saturated, you can then squeeze it out into a container, or you can suck it out directly into your mouth.
Hi everyone, my name's Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. I'm looking really forward to taking you through and showing you all the beautiful places here at and beyond Ngala. If you have any questions, please register on our website. Once registered, go to the live page feed and post your questions underneath the live feed. Join me on my next safari through and beyond Ngala on Wild Earth. Send me live questions through the Wild Earth website and I'll answer them live from the African bush.
Something very, very interesting. I didn't plan this, but this is a scene rarely seen. This is what we call a journey of giraffe. So beautiful.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
What fascinates me most about the animal circle of life is the intricacies between the large and the very, very small. I mean, it's very easy to go out there and find the large. Once you found the large, the cascading effect down to the small absolutely fascinates me. Alertness and situation awareness is by far the number one aspect for protecting ourselves out on safari.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
Alright, so what I wanted to see here, I wanted to see the end of the herd, what is going on, who could be behind them. Doesn't look like anything for now, doesn't look like anything from my side. Well, this is pretty much the end of the group. A lot of time, the end of the group, it's all of the weakest animal, the oldest. Those are sick, are limp. But I haven't seen so much of those. Looks like this herd are all healthy. Or all are fit. So I'm gonna try check the boundary. Looks like they might actually change the direction, head north again into Beverly Souk, what I think, because they just went enough way and now heading back north again. So let's see if they're on a boundary there. Suzanne, you're asking if buffalo would they protect each other, fight the predators just like an elephants do? They can in a herd. They actually, and that's why it's so important. Those in the herds here, they're well protected than those in the bachelor group. Now the difference is that the bachelor males, they don't tend to help each other well. We've seen that a lot of time happened. So, but the herd, they help very much well in a group. Fight well. fight off the lions. So yeah, they do help each other. So with the lions hunting buffalo, they gotta have a technique. They gotta be careful hunting these animals because they are very dangerous. So I've seen lions, when they approach the herd, they focus for an easy target, where maybe never easy, that's why it takes so much time for them to aim for that. But once they get rid of it, or hold of it, they make sure they have to do a lot of damage before the whole herd to return back to help. In that case, that animal will stay injured. If they don't kill it in the first time, that animal will remain injured, badly injured for quite some time, where finally would collapse or left behind forever. And they will go finish it later on, maybe. So I'm gonna reposition here, go back to that boundary. In the meantime, I'll send you across to Lauren with her pride of line.
Buffalo and lions on the same property. And I doubt anything will happen during the day, but it leaves much excitement for this afternoon. I remember when I first started at Wild Earth, it was one of my first few drives with Sebastian, and we were following the Nkuhuma in summer, hunting buffalo. Yes, I drove the vehicle straight into a tree. Wasn't really used to the whole navigation process off-road. And that was the Nkuhuma pride. Such a strong pride now, still very much under the Avokas. The Avokas are still residing as a dominant male coalition in the area. And when you're driving into town from Djuma, you pass an area called Avoka, and it's quite far. And our Avoka males come from there, born in 2013. So they're getting old now. If there was a new sort of coalition of males, young, strong, ready for a fight to come in, the Avokas would be up for a challenge. But luckily, when the Avoka coalition arrived here, the dominant males, Birmingham boys, had moved down south. So when Darkmane, Blondie, and Mohawk arrived, there was really a vacant space. There was no aggressive takeover. There was... Sorry, our Eastern Channel is... I have no words. There was no challenge. They just came in. It was vacant space. No coalition currently there that they had to fight with. And it was an easy slot in to Djuma for them, or at least into the northern sector of the sands. It's not always the case. Sometimes it's a very aggressive encounter. And summer brings about its own challenges, at least for us finding animals. Rodrigo, I wouldn't say flies cause disease. Flies, of course, are all over these females, and it's actually it's not too nice to think about. They're attracted to the scent. Lions probably don't clean their face very well, but they won't lay eggs on them. They will get ticks. Most mammals out here do get ticks. I don't see anyone. And of course, ticks will absolutely latch on, drink blood, and eventually fall off. That's how the predators get rid of the ticks. There's no oxpeckers that are brave enough to come down to a lion. But of course, once the ticks are full with blood and they sort of can't drink anymore, it's quite normal for them to fall off. But the flies won't lay eggs on the lions. And flies can actually eat. They don't necessarily have the mouth parts that other insects have. But what they do have is a proboscis, similar to butterflies and moths. And they're able to completely liquefy the food that they are after. So when a fly lands on your delicious salad that you've just made, it's essentially regurgitating some enzymes which break down the food into liquid so they can suck it up with a straw. Can you believe that? You can't eat solid food if you're a fly. You're doomed eternally to a liquid diet. Definitely not my kind of diet. So the digestive enzymes break the food into a smoothie. So if there's flies on this lion's face, maybe she had an impala last night and there's little bits of impala around the face, the flies will be regurgitating their digestive enzymes onto the lion's face to break those morsels of food into a liquid that they can suck up. Sounds delicious. And the reason flies do pass on bacteria and pathogens is because they regurgitate their gastric juices. Any bacteria that they might have picked up from their last meal, they are regurgitating onto that new surface, be it your salad or be it this lioness's face. And that's why flies have had such a horrible reputation, and they land in feces a lot. And therefore, when they regurgitate, they're not trying to regurgitate bacteria, but that will end up going on to your food. But it's great for the fly. Once everything liquefies, they just suck it up. They describe a housefly, at least. Their mouth is like a spongy vacuum cleaner. Lolly, I don't really think there's a sort of time frame. They allogroom, which means that they will all sort of assist one another in grooming, and that normally tightens their bonds, makes it very cohesive, at least between the lionesses. It's a very strong social society here. But I mean, there's no time frame. They will groom when they groom, whenever they need to. But normally, a sort of lion's day, they will sleep during the day. They are primarily nocturnal. They're not being lazy right now. They're just sleeping exactly like you guys were last night, I hope. Then they will, once they start to wake up, the sort of peak periods of grooming is normally when the sun is going down or when they're getting ready to sleep again, when the sun is coming up. So dawn and dusk. That's the peak periods of grooming. They'll sleep all day, they'll wake up, groom, do the toilet, and then go about their nightly activities. But grooming is just like us scratching or us brushing our hair or us brushing our teeth, jumping in the shower. It's just really self-care. And of course, insects will crawl along them, as you can see right now on that lioness's face. They will be constantly scratching at themselves. You can see there's little bits of sun. I think this lioness will move soon. Did you get that name, Impo? Billy. Billy. Really, again, it depends. It's very situational. It depends on the size of the buffalo. One lioness could easily take down a very, very young calf. It depends if you have male lions involved. Normally, it's a team effort, and it's very coordinated. It's good to have a male involved because they're extremely strong and powerful. They're larger than the females. So if there's a male involved, you're going to need less lionesses. If there's not a male involved, you're probably going to need more lionesses. And the more sort of hunters there are, the better. Some of them go for the rear end, especially the genitalia, which is very unpleasant to watch. Some of them will go from the snout. One will go for the chokehold around the neck. And it's really quite a feat. I would say for lionesses, no less than 3, but it does depend. If you've got a really injured buffalo that's old and weak and crippled, it's probably going to be an easy takedown. If you've got a bull buffalo that's in his prime and he's huge and he's fit and he's aggressive, then that's going to be an extreme challenge. So it's very situational dependent. But a lone lioness on her own is far too much of a challenge to take an adult male buffalo. And talking of buffalo, we're going to send you across to Andrew with his herd.
So cool. Thank you so much, Lauren. So, yeah, it's about the same way. Now we have a lion feast where now the lion and the pride, when they hunt bigger game such as in a buffalo, it's always great standard of food that is there for all the members to feed and left for some for the next hour to come. Where buffalo weigh 900, 800 kilogram, so less than ton. So, but I'm sure we have this buffalo around in this area and we have a pride of lions on the far end. Finally, maybe there would be any action later, maybe in the afternoon later. More likely that the lions will maybe take it easy because it's getting hot until it's possible for them to get to move around. This is when the sun go down. Lion eat a lot when they got buffalo down. The whole, so 13 of a lion in a pride, would sometimes it takes anything from 3-4 days to finish all big buffalo. It's not actually easy catch really for the lions. Lulu, you're asking if buffalo would ever die on old age in a wild. That could happen. Not a lot, but it can happen in a wild when they die where there's not much of a lions behind that herd. It will happen. But the buffalo always attracted, always, face so many challenge where there's so many pride of lions always behind them. Now we're talking about this, we're all weakest. And that's the one that always, at the far end, follow slowly limp as they carry on the whole herd move. Eventually collapse, those old age, and they can't able to move, finally separate from the herd, and an easy target for lions. So they're rather killed by lions many times or die of age. So yeah, Lulu, they either die of age or get caught by lions when they separate far end from the rest of the herd.
Is inside the nose.
So it was one of that is oxpeck is already right inside of the nose. It's amazing. So these oxpecker, you find them in most bovine antelopes, such as a rhino, as a giraffe. All they do, they clean a parasite, so they take any ticks on animals. They can also pack on a red open wound. That's why would they have a red beak. Admari asking if buffalo can be domesticated or paired. Not easy animal. You could do that when they maybe found a young one. Some countries, but I don't think it's in a kept buffalo. So they gotta get used to human if you want to ever do that from very much young age and raised up near human habitat. So otherwise, it's impossible getting one right here and then started to domesticate them. It won't take a long time, and there's so much of an injury that could take place trying to get them, used to human. So, but of course, if you find it younger, then of course they can still, if they're young enough, they can domestic one from age younger, they're still drinking milk, and then they can still drink from the cows if you want to do that. The milk is slightly the same. They can be raised as a pet. But not while they're already fully grown in the wild, one week. And they're dangerous, they're deadly animals. They're one of the most dangerous animals on foot. If you are around here on foot and in a herd, understand, they're more even relaxed. Or they may run away, all of them one run, all of them run, but find one of the injured one, these, separate males that already don't care. They're all just going to approach whatever comes for them. That's why we got to be careful around this bush with these African buffaloes. So, looks like they're all disappearing back there. I'm going to drive the road, see, maybe you never know what we'll find. If there is more back there, we'll spend time with them. Otherwise, we're just going to leave them do their best over the rest of the day. So if we're gonna find them more on the road, then we'll spend time with them. But if we don't see them there, then we're gonna carry on searching for anything else.
It's the month of March, and Wild Earth is offering you the chance to win a brand new prize. Sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer, and you could win a 5-day eco-training ranger experience for 2. Eco-training is the pioneer and leader in safari guide and wildlife training in Africa. The lucky winners can look forward to approaching dangerous game on foot, tracking and 4x4 driving, learning about animal behavior, and even spending one night sleeping out under a blanket of stars. In addition, you will also get the exclusive opportunity to join the Wild Earth team on the broadcasting vehicle. Sign up to be an explorer now, and it could be you that wins this life-changing experience. Terms and conditions apply.
The bushwalk feed allows the camera person some creative license. This is my favorite style of shooting. You have to be mentally and physically prepared. You're shooting handheld in some very strange and contorted positions, always with a straight back, often in the squat position, low to the ground. The creativity comes down to the relationship and sync you have with your presenter. The more you understand each other, the more you'll be able to tell the story seamlessly.
Hello, I'm Marna, your Wild Earth Safari Guide from and beyond Gala. What I really like about connecting with Wild Earth viewers is that we get to speak to viewers instantly, and I get to show you this beautiful property. If you want to ask me a question, register on the Wild Earth website. Simply head over to the live safari page and you can submit your questions there. Join me or one of the other guides twice a day on Wild Earth.
This is a battle of two great carnivores of the African wilderness. Whew. Whoa! You don't want to be under those jaws. Definitely, this round goes to the lion. Look at that. Fantastic.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth. Day.
The Nkuhumas are still snoozing. I feel sleepy watching them. They look so peaceful. But looking at that full tummy, the stomach of a lion can actually hold a substantial volume. It's around 20 to 25, depending on the size of the lion, of their own body weight. Ugh, that's a lot. And their actual esophagus is said to be between 70 to 80 centimeters long, and that's just short of a meter. So just short of 3 feet, I think. Not very good at the conversions. And their small intestine actually comprises 75%, which is 3/4 of course, of the total gastrointestinal tract. So their digestive system is monogastric, just got one chamber. It's not like a ruminant, it's got different pouches and sort of different ways to process the food to break down the cellulose. No, it's monogastric. It's got one chamber, just like ours. The esophagus goes into the stomach and then immediately out, well, not immediately, but after being broken down into the small intestine. And their digestive tract is really sort of specialized and designed in such a way that it allows for storage of large meals. Because it's a feast or famine lifestyle out here. You don't just want to eat a little bite or two and pop it in the fridge and then come back to it a few hours later. You can't do that. You've got to eat as much as you can there and then, and that's why their digestive system is so specialized. It's also very much adapted to eating meat. They're hyper carnivores after all, as the apex predator. So they have to be able to break down not only fresh carcasses, but they do eat putrid carrion as well. Now their stomach acid is not quite as low on the pH scale as hyenas, but it's also extremely low. So the hydrochloric acid, stomach acid, is very, very low on that pH scale, which means it's extremely acidic to sterilize a stomach because they do eat putrid carrion. So as soon as the food enters, whatever that may be, into the stomach, that stomach acid just blasts all the bacteria and pathogens that may be getting ready to enter into the bloodstream. And it's said that female lions in the wild, and this is very general because remember, it's very sort of geographical dependent as well. But in general, female lions are said to need at least 5 kilograms of meat per day to survive. Now, this doesn't mean they're going to get 5 kilograms of meat per day. It may mean that they eat a lot one day and they're still digesting it the next day. But in order to survive and to keep their muscles without wasting away, they need 5 kilograms of meat. And a male lion is said to need at least 7 kilograms of meat per day to survive. And lions have been noted occasionally to eat grass. My dog does this, Poppy. And it's said to sort of, well, act as a laxative to sort of purge the digestive tract from any hairs or any nasty things that they may have eaten that are stuck in the folds of the stomach. And these folds are called rugae. And I believe in the Kalahari Desert you will find some lions eating fruits. And the Sama melon. Even the Gembox cucumber. But that's most likely for hydration reasons. These plants do contain a lot of water rather than for nutritional reasons. Sir, 50, me too. My goodness, as a teenager, I could sleep. But as an adult, well, sleep doesn't come so easy, does it? I'm with you on that one. I wish I could sleep like them. They're completely relaxed, very habituated lions. And they've found the perfect spot of shade. They've most likely been active all night, dealing with cubs, hunting, eating, territorial patrol, walking, grooming, so they're exhausted. I wish I could sleep like them too. Especially on airplanes. Look at the size of her paw, the open paw. That's huge. When you spend a lot of your time with leopards, and then you come to lions again, you immediately get that sort of shock factor. The size difference it's remarkable. Leopards are tiny. Really tiny, especially female leopards. This lioness is just humongous. Her belly's humongous too. I think this will be them for today. They may go deeper into this drainage and then wake up once that sun's going down. I love the relationships between females in a lion pride. There's something very, very special about it. Okay, we're going to leave the Nkuhuma Pride now. There's other vehicles that want to come and there's limited space, but it was a joy to see them. So as we say goodbye to our lionesses, we're going to send you guys across to Andrew.
So we have left the buffaloes, which I'm sure we'll see them later on, because they seems to be in the boundary there. So now we're here with the community spider. As you can see, the whole looks like it's been there ages. All you see it all over, all the building material that's takes place in there. But that's how they do it. They combine leaves, use their special silky to actually mount that. And otherwise, its structure is a nest. And in one nest like that, could be easily 80 of them inside, maybe more. And there's a tiny little spider. And there are harmless. Seen a lot of people use this nest, but then it's gotta be brave people to do that. They all cut the branches, take to their home where it's a lot of activity of flies mosquitoes, and they put it there, and then this is how they are, able to control mosquitoes and all the flies. But those are not scared of a spider then. So I continue searching here, just a hope to come across maybe leopard or wild dogs, which I actually haven't seen a wild dogs in a while. Ooh. So I'm gonna carry on, search around. Oh, got a female kudu. But I'm gonna be sending you across to Ngala.
So welcome back to Ngala, everyone, and as you can see, we have managed to find the lions that were roaring this morning. You can see this old female looking back behind us. I wonder what she spotted. Maybe she just heard something. You see how her ears are moving, quite focused in that direction. And this pride it's not the regular Birmingham pride that we see, but it is the Birmingham breakaway pride. So we're deep in the western parts of Ngala. And I'm sure that these were the lions that we heard roaring this morning and had tracks of earlier. The two big dominant males are also here. Ooh. I don't know if you heard that little contact call from the lioness. I don't know if maybe there's some more lions somewhere behind us in the thicket. And there's the big males are also moving away from us, sort of moving down into the thickets. You can see the big Ross male on the left. Watch how he's rubbing his face in the tree and scent marking as he's following a female. They're looking really nice and strong as well. It looks like they got a nice meal last night. The objective this morning was actually to come and look for this pride of lions, so I'm quite happy that we managed to find them. It is rather beautiful. I think what we'll do is we'll try and move around these ones. Or actually, let's spend a bit of time with these ones on the right. I'll see, maybe there's going to be a lion that's going to walk behind our car in the next couple of minutes. You can see in the grass there's another lioness lying. They're quite scattered around this morning, so they're lying all over the show. So Odie said he just heard a contact call coming from behind us as well. So I think we're just going to sit right here and see if this lion doesn't come and join us from behind the vehicle. There are some youngsters, some lion cubs tucked away in this African weeping wattle as well. And these are young lions that have not seen too many vehicles because of this area is quite a difficult area to work. There are very big blocks here. You can see that lioness, how her teeth have been worn down as well, quite a lot. So she's quite an old lioness. Her front right bottom canine's almost completely worn away. And there have also been reports of some even smaller cubs in this pride. So none of the rangers have yet seen them. I don't know if you remember the other day we saw that fixed wing plane flying over us, the anti-poaching airplane. So Bruce actually saw them from the air and sent us a photo of them. But we have not managed to find them yet. I'm just going to enjoy this lioness calling for a little bit. so we can't hear her contact calls, but it's a very soft call that she's currently making. Can you see one behind us? One of the youngsters, you can see its face coming through, and you can see how they're not as brave as the Birmingham Pride's youngsters, because they're not as used to the vehicles. I'm sure these young ones have only seen the vehicles a handful of times. I mean, it's quite difficult to age them at the moment, but they look like they are probably a year old already. Oh, I'm just going to change and scan across us. The big dominant male lion, the blonde mane Ross male, has got his head up. So he's definitely taking note of these calls. Beautiful to just see his head out of the grass like that. And the reason why they're still lying out in the open this morning is because it is still nice and cool. It hasn't heated up too much yet. Once it does start to heat up, though, I think these lines are all going to move down towards the drainage line and into the shade. Ooh. Jeepers, I don't know if you heard that. Oh, listen. Absolutely wild. So I think what kicked that all off was one of the dominant males went down into the drainage line where some of the subadult male lions were, and it sounded like he got involved in a bit of a scuffle with them, and that in turn got all of these lions a little bit excited. But how amazing was that, to have a whole pride? I mean, that lion that we haven't seen yet sounds like it's roaring from underneath our vehicle at the back. Perfect timing to arrive to the sighting and have them all roaring around like this. There's nothing like a pride of lions roaring right around the vehicle like that. It is really, really special. To have the lionesses calling as well is always a treat. See, after that, and letting out that big roar, they all lie down and rest. Takes a lot of energy to vocalize like that. I can just see some of the young males that I think that other big Ross male had a bit of a scuffle with and are coming back towards us away from where he is. He's been a grumpy male lion the last few weeks. He's been chasing all the young males from the different prides around. I couldn't agree with you more, Dion. There really is nothing quite like having lions roar around your vehicle like that. So I'm really special that we all got a chance to hear it and see them moving around. You can see this Ross male now. He's starting to scent mark as well. Okay, he's scraping his back legs in the ground. I'm sure you would have urinated there and then rubbed his back feet in to mark his territory. The young males are also starting to come towards us, I think coming to look for maybe their mothers for a little bit of protection. It'll be interesting to see if this blonde one tries to chase them, the one that we've got in picture, or whether he's going to be quite relaxed with them. So the one young male's walking straight towards us. And he's sort of gingerly looking at the big male lion. That was without a doubt worth the search and the wait this morning to find them and hear them roaring. I mean, it's already 20 to 9. It's something that you would not often hear, a pride of lions roaring this late in the morning. Unbelievably special. So you can see he's also opening his mouth every now and then, a bit of contact call to mom. You can see that little bit of a mane starting to grow around his neck as well. Maybe 2 years old, this young male. I wonder if he was the one that got the beating. He doesn't have any scratches or scars on him, but you can see where he is going. Heading straight towards this lioness. I wonder if this isn't perhaps its mom. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend some time with these lions, but for now we're going to send you over to Pinda and Damon.
Welcome back to Ambient Pinda. I know it's been a while since you last saw us. When you were last with us, we just lost that female leopard going into some very dense bush where we couldn't quite follow her. And we've come back into the area and we've caught up with her again. She's sitting in a bushveld saffron, elevated above the long grass, with a lovely cooling breeze blowing onto her. Have a look at her tongue and how she's panting. She's been moving through this long grass, through the heat of the day. It's a really, really, really hot and humid day here in Maputo land. And so that's a bit of elevation and a bit of breeze helping her to keep cool. Now, it was actually quite bizarre how we found her. We were driving along and the next thing we just saw this giraffe almost jump up into the air with fright and stare into the long grass next to the road. And there in the shade, I could just make out her head in the shade of this little scented pod tree. And she then started to follow the giraffe. It was quite bizarre. The giraffe had a bit of a wound on its neck, perhaps from running into a branch. She's swatting flies. Look at that. Look what she's doing. Now licking her paw. Oh, look underneath her paw there. She's got a bit of a wound on two of her, what might just be moisture. It's tough to see. I don't know if you can see those two dark patches on her toes. It's almost like if a dog, if any of you have a dog at home and the dog has run on hot tar or run on a very rough surface for long, and sometimes the pad gets that bit of, or loses some of the skin over the top of it. She wasn't walking with a limp though, so I don't think it's, whatever it is, it's not hampering her movements. But anyway, yeah, so she proceeded to actually chase this giraffe, this wounded giraffe. Now, a big female giraffe is definitely much too big for her to try and tackle. But the giraffe didn't stick around. It ran away from her. It was actually quite funny to watch. She's just used her teeth there to get rid of a rather pesky branch. It's in the way. Careful there, you almost poked your eye out. Oh, so nice though. We've been trying so hard to get a glimpse of this leopard. She's just been moving through the most unbelievably thick grass, and it's actually quite scary how easily she disappears. Even Craig and I were just saying, even when she was about 3 or 4 meters away from us, there was a stage where we couldn't see her, even though she was walking with her tail up, kind of curled up over her back. Here we go, she's jumping down. Obviously decided that this is not the most suitable spot, and she'll probably keep on heading down on the edge of a riverbed here, a bit of a drainage line. It's very thick down the bottom, and there'll be lots of big trees for her to go and lie in. And I think that's where she's heading. It's going to be pretty tough to keep up with her here, though. We'll give it our best shot. But yeah, here we go again. Wish us luck.
Welcome back, everyone. And as you can see, the lions, after that little bit of commotion, have all settled down. Rowan was down in the drainage line, and he said that it was the Ross male having a bit of a go at one of the younger ones. I think that dark-maned Ross male might have come off second best, believe it or not. Rowan says he's got blood on his face, but he is in quite a tricky area. So I think we're going to spend time up here with these lions that we've currently got in picture. You can see that male, his eyes are shut now, and he's panting quite heavily. And when we saw them moving up here, they've all got very full bellies. So they must have eaten something rather large last night. There's a young male right in front of us as well. And the three young males after having the scuffle with the other one. The fourth one's apparently still down the bottom there. He's resting next to the Ross male. And then just behind us here, we've still got that old lioness and a young male, and then the three youngsters that are in this wattle. So admire snakes and lions. Snakes don't really tend to attack anything that they're not trying to eat. And you can imagine a lion is a rather big meal for a snake. So something like an African rock python potentially would try and take a cub. But you definitely wouldn't see any other species attacking lions. Sometimes if the lions move through the bush and they stand too close to the snakes might bite them. And can be lethal when something like a black mamba or a Mozambican spitting cobra bites them. But you won't tend to see snakes attacking too many things that are too large for them to feed on. They only really go after something if they're able to catch and eat. Especially the venomous snakes, you can imagine them, their venom is very important to them. So they don't want to waste it by biting something that they're not going to be able to feed on. So that you won't tend to see them attacking lions too much. A lion might get a bite just out of chance, out of bad luck, or as I said, maybe something like a python will try and take one of the babies. What will happen though is if the mother's around or the other adult lions are around and a python bites a youngster, it might end up being able to constrict it and kill it and then feed on it, but there's a good chance that one of the other lions might take interest in it and try and bite it and get it away. And you can imagine if the snake is busy trying to kill one of the younger ones and a larger one starts trying to bite it, it's probably going to let go, because that larger lion, even though it might end up killing the cub, it will probably end up dying from the larger lions. But yeah, snake attacks, don't tend to see snake attacks too often. Youngsters not really coming out for us this morning, and if I were them I'd be sticking in that bush as well, nice and covered inside there. And as I mentioned, they're not too used to the car, so they're not as brave as these other lions are, willing to come right up to us and lie next to the vehicle. Still a contact call coming from behind the vehicle. I have not yet seen that lion, so I think maybe in a few minutes we'll try and reposition to see what lion it is that's behind us. See that other lioness that's lying on the grass has picked her head up as well. Had a good look at her and I can't tell which lioness it is, but I think it might be the lioness with the very short tail that I'm sure some of you watching the show might have seen once or twice. It's the easiest way to tell this pride apart if you do see just her. I think when she was quite young she was feeding at a carcass and another lion by mistake bit her whole tail off, so she looks like a... See, are they taking interest in us? I think it's that lioness or lion that's behind us, contact calling, that's grabbing their attention. So I think the name was Mesa or Nesa. You will occasionally see lions cough up fur balls, just like domestic house cats. So it is something that happens. You can imagine them as well in terms of the fact that they are feeding on some of the herbivores that we get around here, the wildebeest and impala. They've got lots of fur on them. The lions are not as picky as something like a cheetah is, or a leopard that will strip the fur away. Often they'll feed on it and end up eating quite a large amount of that fur, and you don't see them coughing it up too often, but you do tend to find signs of where they have coughed up fur balls. Often within those fur balls there's also things like bones, small shards of bones, and sometimes even small animal hooves if they have consumed them. Starting to see some blue skies above us as well, so I think the clouds are slowly starting to burn off, and I think it's going to be an incredibly warm day today again. If I had to guess, I'd say between about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock today, it's going to be about 31, 32 degrees Celsius. We'll also just have to see how that goes. Also some red-billed buffalo weavers calling behind us. So I think we'll stick around here for a little bit longer. I might try and see if there is a lion behind us, which one it is. Maybe it's got the one with the small youngsters. We've got no idea. But if there's not much else going on, we might move on from here. These lions are going to be flat for the rest of the morning, and maybe this afternoon we'll come back and see what they will get up to later this evening.
Our lives are dictated by alarm clocks, traffic jams, constant multitasking, and countless distractions. The wilderness is where many of us feel the most human. On a bushwalk, we become part of the natural landscape. As you step off the vehicle, everything comes alive. As with any risky experience, walking amongst these animals inspires awe and appreciation. Now, it's your turn to go on a bushwalk. Join us from Pride Lands as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with a place that first taught us how to be human.
I got into wildlife filmmaking because of a passion for nature and a notion that I could make a difference. Helping others fall in love with nature brings meaning to what I do. It's also a lot of fun. A couple of times per week we receive some very heartfelt messages from viewers telling us about how Wild Earth has made a difference in their life, whether it's helped them through a difficult period or simply helped them to reconnect with nature. I think that's why we do what we do.
Hi, my name is Tristan Dix, and I am a guide here at Djuma Private Game Reserve for Wild Earth. We love connecting you to the African bush, and we always look forward to all of your questions. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, you'll need to register on the website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit a question below the live feed. Catch up with me on Wild Earth.
Looks like it's a very difficult climb because every time it tries to climb, the ground is breaking, so it slides down. But it's the only one. Look at that. That is the call of desperation with a cub. It's like, what are you doing, mommy? Oops. Oof.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
Cool, so we are still on a bumble around here, hoping to come across any of the animals. But all I was hoping was a trekking on cats, if we were to find the tracks like a leopard, but not at all. It's getting warm, but trekking on cats, though, if you find the tracks which are fresh, then you always find that leopard, because then usually they will rest when it's warmer day. So you're more likely to find them in shade. Sorry, you want to repeat that question from Light from the Sky? Light from the Sky, maybe I missed this question always. You want to know if elephants have teeth or taste bites, right? Yes, they do. Yes, Light from the Sky. So you want to know if elephants has or taste bites like human? I think they have, because they have also tongue, you know. And then most of mammals, those that have a tongue, and then they would definitely, you know, taste anything they eat. And that's why also they would have a preference of feed, especially elephants. There's a specific plants they would need, and there's a specific grass they would pick. So that's all about the test. They actually test when they eat that, and it feels like they would need more and more. But animals or a reptile that I don't think would have a test would be maybe a snake, and these all a lizard. Because you see their tongues are, you know, they are attached to the top of a roof of their mouth. Oh, we got looks like a baby, a leopard tortoise on a road. Look at that, that's the little thing. So Light from the Sky, that was your answer, I think. And then actually here, interesting thing, I know we weren't going to be actually able to see it again, that a baby leopard tortoise that disappeared, what happened, the mother would lay the eggs, you know, dig down holes, lay the eggs, and then the eggs hatch, but you know, independently. And then when these young ones hatch, they don't need their parents anymore to take care of them, so they grow up with their own experience. Survival can be very tough. Some get eaten by, you know, leopards, some eaten by ground hornbill, those type of birds. Of course, you got a different animal that they only lay eggs. Once they lay the eggs and they forget about them, they don't want to even go there again. And when a young one has, they will be able to run around. Some even lizards that don't want to see their baby will eat them. So I'm going to search around here. Hopefully I get something for everybody. I'm going to be sending you across now to Lauren for an update.
I checked on Missy's batelier. It's very difficult to get good visuals, actually, but we checked on her. She's sitting on the nest as usual, but no signs of any movements, any creamy, feathery heads. I still think there's a chick there, though, but it's obviously very artificial at this stage. And as long as... But I think each day that we keep checking and checking, we have a chance, very small chance, to see this chick. I also checked on the hyena. Hot. That is really but no luck. So that's my update. We left the lions so that other vehicles can get a view. It's at this time that it starts to get really uncomfortably hot. Alrighty, let's just take a view and board this beautiful scenery up ahead. You can still see how thick the bush is. Okay, for now, we're going to send you guys back across to Andrew.
So now we got a very much beautiful and instrumental audio bird over here, which is a red-billed hornbill. Oops. So usually male start the calls and the female respond. It's a way of communication. You will find the male and the female, but not always. That you find sometimes a whole gathering of 4 to 6 birds together. It's all printing there, but then unfortunately with that long beak doesn't really work some part. And there are interesting birds. They're a slow flying bird. But they can be very noisy, just like what we heard not long ago. It's quite a few different species of hornbill we have here. So red-billed hornbill, southern yellow-billed hornbill, grey hornbill, and they are ground hornbill as well. Those are specialized on the ground. Further in the east, Mozambique, part of Kruger, there is a trumpeting hornbill as well. Trumpet hornbill, I only seen it once. Out here. Ruby, say you're saying hornbills are fantastic. They are really fantastic. And they don't, mind the other birds in the area. Joining them, associate with your different species of birds. But the old birds wouldn't like predators, eagles, or owls, snakes. There's also a type of mongoose. Looks like it's gone there. We gotta carry on. Just checking. So there's a slender tail mongoose. That mongoose, most birds don't like it because they eat their cheeks, they eat birds and others. But they will associate with dwarf mongoose, which those are so cool to associate with. So everyone, I'm going to bumble around here, see what I'm going to find. I'm going to be sending you across to Ngalas with their lines.
Welcome back, everyone, and as you can see, we have repositioned ourselves, and so have the two lions that are lying in the clearing. As it's heated up a bit, they have gone in search of shade. And it was, in fact, the lioness with the short tail. When she stood up and moved here, we saw that. And you can see how the Ross male is not moving too far away from her. He's rather interested in her. This morning, he's been showing lots of signs of interest in her, but she has been giving him growls and not letting him get too close to her as well. It is about time. She's due for some cubs again, so it's a good chance we might see them mating at a stage in the future. Whether it's him and her or his brother and her, I'm not so sure about. Could be either one of them. They're all clumping right on top of each other as well on the right hand side, inside the wattle and the guarri where the three youngsters are. I think that's going to be the aim of the game for the rest of the day, is going to be them looking for shade. I'm pretty sure they're not going to move too far. They are all full, so it looks like they ate something big last night. Not too sure what, because we have not been seeing very many buffaloes. We're changing back over to this big male lion who's chewing on branches. He's still quite young at heart. I didn't like that one too much. So Vinny, when it does get cold, they tend to huddle up right on top of each other and sleep right next to each other, making use of each other's body to try and keep warm. But they've also got that thick coat of fur that keeps them warm throughout the winter time. And I think they much prefer the cool weather than the hot. When it's cool, also to warm them up, moving around is a good thing to do. Don't know if you've ever had it, Vinny, when you are rather cold and you go and exercise, you go for a run or even a walk, how quickly you manage to warm yourself up. I think when it is rather cold, they're either on the move or they are sleeping huddled up right on top of each other. And I think with their thick coats, they don't tend to worry about the cold too much. I think the heat tends to be more of an issue for them, trying to keep cool rather than trying to warm up. These two dominant males are in incredibly good shape at the moment. They're getting good meals. I mean, that wildebeest that they stole from the Birmingham Pride the other day, or the ones that they ate with the Birmingham Pride, and I'm sure they ate a meal with this Pride of Lions last night at some stage, maybe early on in the evening. There were some vultures and tawny eagles behind us before we managed to find the lions this morning. We saw them, and we did have a look around, couldn't find any signs of a carcass or any lions, and then when we drove around the corner, all of these lions were out in the open. It really is starting to warm up quite quickly here this morning. It's quite a cool name that you have there, Victim of Nature. Oxpeckers on lions, I've never seen an oxpecker on a lion. I think they might try every now and then, because the lions do get ticks on them, but also they don't get the amount of ticks that you'll see on other herbivores. You can imagine with their social nature and the fact that they groom each other every evening or every day, they'll help groom each other, they'll groom themselves as well. So they'll manage to clean most of the ticks off themselves. We only really tend to see ticks on lions around their rump, under their legs and on their ears, and sometimes around their eyes. This lion is growling at the male now that he's lying down next to her. So I've never seen an oxpecker on a lion, and I also think it's because they're quite agile. So if an oxpecker does land on them, they'll easily manage to shake it off. The closest I've seen an oxpecker coming to a lion was actually with this male lion that we've got in picture. He killed a buffalo. Well, he actually didn't end up killing it. We saw it in the morning, and he was lying next to it. It was quite graphic. He'd eaten a whole chunk out of the buffalo's back, and the lion was lying next to the buffalo. He was out of breath. The buffalo was out of breath. No, the buffalo wasn't yet dead, and the oxpeckers were flying into the wound where this male lion had fed out of him, the buffalo, and he was not tolerating those oxpeckers even on his meal. So the fact that he wasn't tolerating an oxpecker on his food, I don't think he would tolerate one on himself. So yeah, no, probably not. You won't see oxpeckers on any of the predators. No lions, not on lions or leopards or cheetahs, to that fact. But they're all fast asleep now. This young dominant male, it looks like he might be chewing on a stick or trying to eat some grass. I might just try and sneak a little bit forward. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to leave this lion pride for the morning and start making our way back towards the central parts and back towards camp, as it is rather hot. But for now, we're going to send you over to Andrew at Djuma, and he has found something that a lion might enjoy feeding on.
Indeed, we've got a little bit of visual of a warthog, which is not actually relaxed. It's keeping away distance from us. Looks like she's got a baby there, maybe that's why. Or many of the warthog, not always that relaxed though. She's gonna go. Trying to save the baby. She's pretty much aware of us. See the tails up. When they run, they pull the tails up, especially with the baby in there, so that we're able to follow one another through the bush. Edge to is asking if the warthog born with a tusk. No, they don't born with a tusk. It looks like it will just vanish. So the tusk only develop as they grow up already. More well developed on the males, while bigger one. So they actually sort of kind of modified tusk, which is a bone structure, and they do break off sometimes and never grow back. So, but you know, they don't actually born with them, but they grow them as they grow up. So they've only seen one baby, maybe, you know, usually give birth to anything from 7, 8 of a baby. Maybe she lost the rest. And that is the only one that left. And that's why she's trying to stay. She's trying to stay away from us. So I'm gonna bumble about again here. In the meantime, I'll be sending you across to Lauren with something to show everybody.
It's got to that time of day where it is just too hot. Once that clock strikes 9 o'clock here, it's something changes and it gets ridiculously hot. So we're looking for the small things. And I managed to show you one of these the other day, but they're everywhere now. And this is an Uthaka. You just have to love that word. I love the way it sounds on my tongue. Uthaka. And it's the egg case, or the egg mass, if you like, of the praying mantises. Now, various different mollusks and even cockroaches make Uthakas, but the ones that we are looking at belong to the praying mantis. And if you think about it, just like a foam nest that we were looking at earlier, this is a perfect way to keep your eggs safe. Not just from predators, but also dehydration, also flooding. By keeping them in a really sort of hard casing, you're protecting your eggs until they're ready to hatch. And Uthaka indirectly translates to a place to keep, which is just lovely. A place to keep your babies. And when the sort of female mantis first produces her Uthaka, it's very, very smooth, believe it or not, and quite soft. But this is obviously not ideal. It hardens remarkably quickly and it gets extremely strong. I, of course, don't want to touch this one because this one is still active. But if you ever find them on the ground and they're empty, of course you can touch them. And they're very robust. But every mantis species has different color, different size, and different sort of shapes for their Uthakas. I have no idea which species created this, but it's definitely the mantis. And also it doesn't matter if they're fertilized or not. The eggs I'm talking about. The female mantis will still produce an Uthaka, fertilized or unfertilized. And again, depending on the species, there may be a few eggs inside, or there may be hundreds and hundreds of eggs inside. Victim of nature, I think I just answered your question. Great minds think alike. But yes, depending on the species, either a few or 100. And the females, we are approaching the end of summer, which actually makes my heart heavy. Once the female mantis is ready to die, that's when she lays her Uthaka. Once she's nearing the end of her life cycle, which is not a long life cycle, that's when she leaves.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm here in Northern California.
This is an Anna's hummingbird. We love seeing him because he brings a little magic and energy to our cold, wintry backyard. In the winter, they politely visit one at a time, but in the summer, they gorge themselves in groups to prepare for their long migration south. As the hummingbirds fly south, over 1 million of these Canadian geese travel the Pacific Flyway from the Arctic to spend the winter with us. They like wetlands and we're in a drought, but they seem pretty happy on the dry bank of Folsom Lake here. This has been a tough year everywhere, but one good thing was we found Wild Earth, who encouraged us to relieve our stress through nature. There's a saying that a distraction is momentary, an escape helps you heal.
Well, one track here in front of me, and then one track went right there. I want to follow the track with the cubs. Sorry, I'm gone behind the car. That's very rude of me. I want to follow the track with the cub. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Okay, so everybody, we've just bumped into Pride of Lion.
I'm Nikki here at Ambient Ngala in South Africa. I love getting questions from viewers about all the small things within the environment and how it all is integrated with one another. If you want to ask me any questions, please simply register with the Wild Earth website, head across to the Live Safari page and then post your questions there. I'm looking forward to chatting to you on my next Wild Earth drive.
Okay, there's another big male coming in from our left here. Another big male, look at this. This is the one. Now you're going to see sparks fly, guys. Guys, it doesn't get better than this, eh? Yes! Unbelievable. Africa, I love you, eh?
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
Cool, so here we got a very much interesting destruction that happened, which actually caused by the elephant. Looks like that deep bark that take place in a tree, which is a marula tree, and it's still a marula tree, but it's gonna die because that deep bark looks like it's done all the way around by the elephant, where then there will be they're wanting the combium layer, which is lying between the wood and the bark. And when I look around here, I find so many of marula, but this one is only the one that they chose to do it. Maybe the taste was delicious. But it's going to die slowly because the transportation for the water is going to start now be less from the roots. Oh yeah, there's actually kudu in the background. Well hidden in there. And they're just a slightly shadow where they are. Well, there's also one that is started to feed right now, so it's so cool to see kudu because we see many females kudu, less male is that they are a lot skittish, the male. I'm not sure why. Kudu is one of the antelope in the area, and they're quite common. They're well spread around quite a lot throughout the reserve and across the Kruger Park. It's amazing, eh? Like David just said, just an ear behind. So it's because they have a very big ears compared to most other antelopes. And his ears actually well developed, well that they can actually provide greater hearing for that antelope when they move through the bush. I'm gonna move slightly forward. Are you asking if they could be similar to Nyala? They're different, but they're all antelopes, and they associate slightly the same way males, Nyalas, they mainly in a group where it's about the same with Kudu. All group of bachelor group, you find them together as more than one. But there are a difference. They still have this vertical stripe, where Nyala have them as well, but the female Nyala yellow, the bull dark. But with the kudu, male and the female the same color, and the difference is that the male will carry a horn, where female don't, which also Nyala is the same. Female don't have a horn, but male has. Both species bark when they're not too sure about something, so they warn each other by barking like a dog almost. So yeah, they are slightly bigger than a Nyala. And this stripe, it's just incredible, beautiful. Looks like it's mess of a paint that was poured right to the top and sort of like a slide down in the side of that animal. Slightly very short tails, but the longer legs, which makes them jump very well up. Can jump higher, up to about 3.5 to 4 meter up, and they're very good in it. So everyone, we're coming in the end of this morning show, and then we all hope to see you again this afternoon at 15:30 Central African time. So we hope to see you again there, and that's how we're gonna able to see how we're gonna find